Hey guys, Danny back again from the Couch Gnomes with another game impressions for you today. So I never played a lot of Advance Wars as a kid, but I definitely remember enjoying what I got to play of it. So I was really excited when they announced this new game called Wargroove, and the developers Chucklefish did not let me down. With its amazing array of characters, fun gameplay, challenging campaign, and badass animated intro that, arguably, is maybe a little bit better than the one I made. But just a little bit. Wargroove gave me an amazing time falling in love with the world of Orania. The story begins with you playing as Marcia, a young warrior princess of the Cherrystone Kingdom, who lost her father to the evil Felheim army, led by Lord Volder. And now you're forced out of your own home and need to find a way to outpower Volder and take back your kingdom. Along the way you meet a bunch of new characters from different factions, including the Floran tribes and the Heavensong Empire. Along with meeting these new potential allies, you unlock new classes or unit types for your army. This includes trebuchets, giants, dragons, merfolk, and most importantly, turtles. Freaking turtles. I really like the turtles. While playing through the campaign and meeting all the different factions, I immediately fell in love with the Floran tribe for a couple different reasons. A, their leader Greenfinger is a badass who rides this insane buck that's made out of grass and trees. And then they also have Sedge, who even though he's like the secondary villain of the game, he's the character I enjoyed the most. And I would always do my sillier Gollum voice acting while reading out his cutscenes.
Humans bent on the destruction of the Gloomwoods. Sedge caught them, Sedge defeated them. Greenfinger did not very soon, they will be dead.
But the Heavensong Empire is also really dope, because a lot of their units are heavily inspired by the steampunk aesthetic. And I really like steampunk, like almost as much as I like turtles. So something I really love about Wargroove's campaign is that not only do you play as Marcia and the other commanders of the Cherrystone Kingdom, but you also get to play as the commanders of the other factions, even Felheim. So not only do you get to experience the story through the eyes of the heroes, but the villains as well. Now I won't get too far into the plot at the end of the game, but a lot of different things happen in this story, and it kept me excited the entire time. Next I want to talk about the gameplay, because that's where this game really shines. I don't play a lot of strategy games, but I'm going to do my best here to explain this in as much detail as I possibly can. The way this game plays is almost identical to Advance Wars, but if you've never played those games, Fire Emblem is another great example as well. And if you've never played Fire Emblem, just pay really close attention to the visuals. You start each mission with a set amount of troops, and then you're given an objective, which is usually either taking out the enemy base or commander, escorting villagers to a safe location, or defeating every unit the enemy army sends your way until they're forced to retreat. You take your turn by moving your units to various locations on a gridded map, where you want to take out enemy units and capture territories, so you can make more gold to recruit even more units. Every unit has a health bar, which is marked on the character's sprite. As you take damage, that number is decreased, and that also goes for the enemies as well. When a unit hits 0, they're officially out of the fight. Being able to strategize is key to being successful in this game. You need to time out when you attack specific enemy units to yield the best results for you and your team. Each unit can also land a critical hit, but there's certain criteria that has to be met before they can do that. So for example, archers can land a critical hit if they remain stationary during their turn. And the cavalry units can land critical hits when they charge an enemy from more than 6 spaces away. I like the way Wargroove does this, because it gives you a little bit more control about how much damage you actually do, versus RNG's is taken into his own hands. Every type of unit also has vulnerabilities, so you want to study all the different soldiers on the battlefield, so you can then spawn in what you need to do more damage quickly to what the enemy is sending your way. This adds a sort of medieval rock, paper, scissors mechanic to the game. Each commander in this game has their own individual special move, known as a groove, hence Wargroove. A commander's groove ability is charged up over time, but also by dealing and taking damage. So here are a few examples of the different type of grooves the commanders have. Greenfinger has Wild Growth, which allows him to place 5 pillars of vines to block enemy movement. This is something you want to use to defend weakened allies or block in enemies from escaping. Ragna, who's from the Felheim army, can do a shield jump, where she leaps into the air and crashes down, dealing 65% of the damage she normally would do at full health to the surrounding enemies. And then there's the best boy, Caesar, who can inspire allies to take a second turn. This is a really good ability to have when you get to missions where you get more than one commander on the battlefield. Something I do wish I had the option to do is picking which commander I got to use during the campaign missions. Starting only, there's only a few commanders to choose from, so I'm not so much concerned with that. And some of the missions are very much tailored to a certain commander's character progression. But at some points I do wish I didn't have to use Emmerich, or I didn't have to use Koji. Even if I am limited to just picking from a certain faction per mission, I just think it gives a little bit more personal choice to the campaign. So as much as I do love Wargroove, I did hit a point where I felt like I was progressing super slowly. Now that's not to say that the gameplay got slow, because if I wanted to, I could just hold B and fast forward through the enemy's turn. But sometimes I'd end up spending a really long time on certain levels. This still isn't part of my unfamiliarity to the genre, but also that this game's difficulty does increase drastically over the course of the campaign. Missions sometimes can take up to 2 hours to finish, and when I'd get into my comfy zone and start playing, I'd have already invested my whole play session into just one mission. I feel like I was just not making enough progress each time I sit down to play. But what I did find out that Chucklefish put in this game were custom difficulty settings. This is probably the first time I've really used something like this in a game since the handicap options back in Super Smash Bros. Melee. But as soon as I learned their accessibility options, I cranked each one of those settings all the way up. I increased income to 500, I reduced damage received to 20%, and I increased my groove charge to 500%. Turning on these settings really helped rejuvenate my desire to play this game, which, to be honest, was dwindling just a bit. Now, as a warning, if you do pick up this game, playing it the way I have does make it that you can only earn 1 star for each mission, which does make it harder to get the 100 stars to unlock the final epilogue chapter. I also assume that playing this way does affect the PlayStation trophies and the Xbox achievements, but since I'm playing on Switch and there are no achievements, this really didn't bother me. Unless they retroactively count if Nintendo decides to add this system later. Well then, I'll just give you guys a chance to laugh at me for it. However, this does lead me to something really important that I do want to talk about. So as a gamer growing up, I've met a lot of people who like to judge others on the way they like to enjoy games, primarily on what difficulty they choose to play through it. And to be honest, that's really not cool. You may like to play games on the hardest difficulty just for the challenge or for the experience or for a trophy, and that's completely fine. If someone else spent their hard-earned money to enjoy a game for whether it's story or the gameplay or whatever, just let them enjoy it. It in no way, shape, or form should affect the way that you enjoy the game yourself, so let others do their own thing. I normally don't play games the hardest difficulty because I know it's ruined games for me that otherwise I would have loved. If I want to play the game at my own pace, the way that I want to do it, that is my prerogative. And that goes for everyone else out there playing games for their own enjoyment. Celeste is another great game that gives you options similar to this, making the game more accessible to people who aren't familiar with the gameplay or need time to learn the proper strategies to come out on top. I personally didn't use the options in Celeste because dying a bunch of times until I got it right was way better than investing 2 hours into a mission in Wargroove to then lose and have to restart. Chucklefish did a great job making this game more accessible to me, because without these options, I don't know that I would have finished this game. So if you're someone out there being told how to enjoy your game, don't listen to them. Block them out and just have fun. And if you are one of the people that like to bug others about how they enjoy games, knock it off. Stop doing that. But anyway, after all that heartwarming whatever, let's get back to talking about this amazing game. Aside from the campaign, there are 4 other major modes in Wargroove: the multiplayer, arcade mode, puzzle mode, and the creation mode. Wargroove has both local and online multiplayer. I haven't tried local play yet, but I have gotten my hands on a few online matches. I don't think I'll be playing this too much because of how I spoiled myself during the campaign, but it's super cool because it's asynchronous, which means that you can play it whenever you have time. So you take your turn, come back the next day and see what move your rival made, and then go from there. Kind of think of it like chess, where the enemy's taking a really long time to hit that button to pass turn. But that's okay because you can start another match with someone who possibly just wants to play straight through. So you go back and forth and get through the game a lot faster. Like I said, I don't see myself playing this mode too much just because I suck. And I don't need some 12-year-old genius laughing about how bad I am over the internet. However, I could see myself playing it more if I had friends who also own the game. Side note, Wargroove is cross-platform play, so if you have friends on Switch, Xbox One, or PC, you can all play together. Sorry PlayStation people, Sony still really doesn't want to play nice with this yet. It's funny because I was actually reading an article the other day about PlayStation cross-platform play with this game, and it was really interesting. Tell you what, I'll read a snippet from the article. Sure, why not? Alright, so this quote's from Sean Layden, who's the Sony Interactive Entertainment chairman. He says, "People keep saying, why doesn't Sony allow more people to have it? We're open for business on this. All it takes is for publishers and developers who wish to permission it. As ever, just work with your PlayStation account manager, and they will walk you through the steps that we've learned through our partnership with Epic on how this works. I don't believe right now there are any gating factors on that. I think they're open to making proposals, because the Fortnite thing worked pretty well." Sounds nice, right? But here's a quote from Finn Bryce, who's the CEO of Chucklefish. He says, "Hi all, CEO of Chucklefish here. We just launched Wargroove with crossplay between PC, Switch, and Xbox, so I wanted to chime in. We made many requests for crossplay, both through our account manager and directly with higher-ups, all the way up until release month. We were told in no certain terms that this is not going to happen. From our side, we can literally toggle a switch and make it work. Of course, policy work might be more complicated for Sony, I just wanted to provide some balance on the issue and say that it certainly isn't a question of developers having not contacted their account managers or having dropped the ball. We were told no. So it does look like Sony still isn't quite on board with what they want to do with crossplay yet. So now the next two modes I want to talk about are both a part of the single player experience of this game, and they're both really fun. Arcade mode is basically a mini campaign for each individual commander, similar to what you'd find in a Street Fighter game. You play through 5 miniature battles and experience a small snippet of a story for each commander. You can play on easy, normal, or hard difficulty. And depending on the difficulty you choose, you'll collect stars that count towards those 100 stars you need to unlock the epilogue. Now the puzzle mode is really unique. It's the one that has me the most intrigued, and probably my favorite mode at the moment. In puzzle mode, you're given one turn to complete your objective. Whether that be take out the entire opposing army, take out the base or the commander, whatever it is. One turn to do it. This mode adds a whole new challenge that isn't all about overpowering your enemy at all costs. It's about tactically taking out all the enemy units in the correct order, and using your proper soldiers to their best potential. So you need to take all the strategy, unit movement, critical hit requirements, and groove abilities that you learned in the campaign and put them to the test. You also get 1 star per puzzle that goes towards the epilogue mission, just like in the arcade mode. Unfortunately, there's only 25 levels to puzzle mode right now, so I'm hoping they add some more later with DLC. Or maybe we'll be able to download some creations from the community from the creation mode. So the last mode that Wargroove has to offer is the creation mode, where you can build your own maps, missions, and even your own campaigns, along with the cutscenes and dialogue that go with it. As you can see, this is the mode that I used to create that fun little intro at the beginning of the video. Getting started was a little weird learning how to maneuver the menus and get a solid start in the campaign. But after a bit of tinkering and menu hopping, I got a decent idea how it worked. However, my ability to create and design levels is yet to be determined. You can also upload your levels for other people to download and play from all around the world. At the time of recording, I haven't really gotten a chance to see what other Wargroove players have made, but I can't wait to see what you guys created out there. Hopefully soon I can make a small Couch Gnomes campaign that I can put up there for you guys to download and play as well. Don't know when that'll be because I'm so busy working on videos for you guys all the time. We'll see when I can slip in the time to do that. All in all, Wargroove is a fun, colorful, and challenging game that has started a path to broaden the variety of game genres in my repertoire. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like below, comment what you thought, and make sure you subscribe if you're new here. We always got cool content for you guys. And aside from YouTube, we have a bunch of other social media that you guys need to be checking out. We post a lot of exclusive stuff on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We even have a Discord, community Discord, where you get to talk to a bunch of other Couch Gnomes fans. It's really cool. All the links in the description below. Like I say in every one of these videos, I really enjoy talking about video games, just giving my reviews, giving my impressions, saying what I like, what I dislike, things I'd like to see in future iterations, whatever. So I have more of these videos coming in the future. But that's it for me for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.
No stomach whip.
Sorry.